It was a bit confusing because I literally had no other place to go. And so, yeah, it was a bit confusing about what do I do now? You know, it's kind of, I was lost, really, in a short time.
Well, I was scared, you know, as anybody would be, because I didn't know what to expect.
Kind of different being around other people when you've been living alone. It's just a different environment than what I always thought nursing homes were going to be quiet. It's pretty noisy around here part of the time. And then having to deal with other people too sometimes can be difficult.
It was a little traumatic, but I got over that.
It's a heck of a change. At first I felt like I was kind of pinned up, caged up. Couldn't do nothing. I couldn't get outside and do nothing. And then things are starting to get a little better now.
That's how you got here, for therapy. So I thought, well, just therapy. That was a joke? No, it was for supposed to. She had that in her mind all the time anyway. So here I am, and I could have went back home, but I didn't. I stayed. And so then I sold the house later on. I've been here 2 years now.
It was crazy. It was going from the hospital directly to the nursing home, and then basically having to clear out my house with assistance from people I didn't even know, and then getting rid of it, basically. It was a terrible loss. It was possessions that I'd had for, well, as long as I'd had a home, wherever I was, and I just, you know, like a piece of me had been ripped away.
Hard. It was, you know, we lived next door to my brother for years, and Donnie and I are the only ones in our family. He's the only brother I have, and I didn't have any sisters. So it was extremely hard because we've always been very close. He took care of me after our father died when he was about 5 and a half, and I wasn't a year old. So he had to take care of me part of the time while Mom was busy with other, you know, cooking for farmers and that sort of thing. And then in later years I helped him out a lot. And it was hard.
It was hard. You're gonna make me cry.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I took care of my mom until she was 98, and then she got so that her legs weren't working, and I couldn't lift her anymore. Yeah, she still wants to go home. She's been here, I think 3.5, maybe.
You're okay. You're okay.
She's my best friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Can you imagine what it would be like to move into the nursing home where you work? Take time to reflect on this. What would work for you? What would not work for you? Moving to and living in a nursing home is a major life transition. Societal and cultural perceptions of nursing homes can fuel fear and make this transition even more difficult. As we think about traditional and historic nursing home care models, we can see how negative views of nursing homes formed. Almshouses were the precursor of today's nursing homes. They hosted the oldest old, orphans, people with disabilities, and those facing addiction who were homeless. Almshouses provided meals and shelter, but no other services, leading to very poor living conditions. Old age homes replaced almshouses, and in the 1940s, old age homes evolved into nursing homes connected to hospitals. It was at this key juncture that nursing home care was medicalized, adopting many hospital practices and approaches to care. Then, in 1960, Medicaid began paying for nursing home care, and there was more incentive to build nursing homes and offer a variety of services. Many of the homes built in the 1960s were directly modeled after hospitals, and hospital care practices were adopted as well. The medical model is characterized by efficiency, focused on illness rather than the person, and are hierarchical and rigid in structure. While these care practices are necessary for short-term stays, they do not translate well into living environments where people live for extended periods of time, such as nursing homes, where the average length of stay is just over 2 years. Bill Thomas, a famous geriatrician and founder of the Eden Alternative, pointed out that these traditional nursing home environments with hospital-like care practices lead to 3 plagues: loneliness, helplessness, and boredom. Judith Carboni further found in her research that elders living in traditional nursing homes experience some of the same feelings that those who are homeless experience. Feelings such as powerlessness, dependence, non-personhood, disconnectedness, insecurity, meaningless space, placelessness with no journey, and without boundaries. We can do better. The good news today is that we do know better. This efficiency, hospital-driven model of care is a way of the past. Person-centered care is now the expectation. Even the recently revised federal regulations and Medicare payment models call for and support person-centered care delivery. Though person-centered care is the expectation, many nursing homes have not yet made the full transition. There is still need for improvement. Person-centered care is a philosophy that changes the focus of caregiving from accomplishing tasks to emphasizing the person. As a result, the personal preferences of elders become as important as providing the services and supports they need. Person-centered care requires a shift in an organization's values and beliefs about quality. Quality of life becomes equally as important as quality of care. Many of us work in long-term care for more than a paycheck. It is more like a calling, and we love the elders and families. Unfortunately, at times, the very organization we work in has systems that are barriers to providing person-centered care. For instance, we may want to support an elder in getting up when they desire, but a doctor's order has a medication scheduled at 6 a.m. As a medication aide, I might get in trouble if I do not wake them and give the medication on time. Once I have awakened the resident, I know they will not be able to go back to sleep. Or, as a caregiver, I might know that Janice is grumpy if I wake her before 7:30, but I know the kitchen stops serving hot breakfast at 7:30. I know she loves hot breakfast, so I wake her up at 6:45 to get her out to breakfast every morning. She stays grumpy until lunch. Subtle policies, practices, and systems within our workplace get in the way of supporting each elder in the way they want to live life. With the best of intentions and with big hearts, we aren't able to fully provide person-centered care because the system is broken. To fully realize person-centered care delivery requires deep organizational change. It is not about minor adjustments or talking about what we do differently. It is a major transformation both personally and organizationally. The circus industry is a great example of a major change in operation. Circuses were dying. People started losing interest in circuses. Part of the reason for the dissatisfaction is because there are now many competing ways to be entertained. The designers of Circus Soleil decided to change the whole culture of circuses. They got rid of animals and made the event more theatrical, thereby drawing on a group of people that never thought they would like a circus. Circus Soleil has become wildly successful. Nursing homes are like circuses. The model fit a previous generation, but is no longer satisfying. We need to dig deep to examine the desires of current and future generations so that we can create living environments that are wildly successful because they are deeply satisfying. Deep, meaningful organizational culture change takes a minimum of 3 to 5 years. Many top person-centered care homes in the nation report that their journey took 7 to 8 years from their initial start. Though full integration of person-centered care takes time, each step along the way is a success. Each leg of the journey makes life more satisfying for elders and staff alike. When this journey is done with high levels of engagement across the organization, success rates are even higher. Involve everyone. PEAK is your guide to help and support you on your person-centered care journey. It provides a clear framework of what person-centered care is, and soon you will begin working on how your organization plans to put person-centered care into action. Let's further explore person-centered care. It's easy to see that person-centered care is important. What becomes tricky is determining what it looks like to provide person-centered care in the day-to-day life of a nursing home. This is where PEAK comes in. The PEAK criteria are a framework for person-centered care that were developed from national evidence-based research. These criteria will help your team have a shared definition of what person-centered care looks like in practice. That means you can be on the same page as you make changes to how you do things in your organization. The Kansas Department of Aging and Disability Services person-centered care criteria is divided into 4 domains: resident choice, staff empowerment, home environment, and meaningful life. Let's look further at each of these domains, starting with resident choice. Resident choice speaks to elders directing their own lives. Promoting choices is the most basic and essential principle of person-centered care. Real choice is not simply being allowed to pick from options predetermined by us. The choice we are talking about here is a deeper level of choice that speaks to elders' autonomy. It is not regimented by us. It is having the power to determine your own options. For instance, I like Wheaties and dried cherries and milk for breakfast. If I moved into a nursing home and the breakfast buffet had 20 choices of cereal, but no Wheaties and dried cherries, then I would not be able to fulfill my breakfast ritual. It is the power to make your own decisions, good and bad. We accept risk as a normal part of life. With any person-centered care value also comes a responsibility. To support this level of choice, it is important to have systems, training, and policies in place. Working through the PEAK criteria helps you and your organization embrace the values of resident choice and provides practices and tools to help collaboratively implement what is needed to do it responsibly. Within the resident choice domain are 4 cores. These include food, sleep, bathing, and daily routines. Criteria in these core areas help to break down systems within food service, caregiving, bathing, and care planning that are inflexible and rigid to be more flexible, adaptable, and individualized while also responsibly meeting elders' needs. Think back to the elders and family members sharing about their experience moving into a nursing home. We heard their feelings of fear related to loss, powerlessness, and lack of control. Wouldn't it be amazing if the systems in your nursing home supported elders' normal habits, routines, and preferences right from the start? That's what resident choice is all about. Resident choice cannot be fully realized without staff to support it. The PEAK domain staff empowerment speaks to direct care staff being empowered to support elders in the decisions they make. The goal is to keep decisions as close to elders as possible. Direct caregivers, CNAs, CMAs, nurses, housekeepers, cooks, maintenance staff, and others know the elders. They know that Margaret starts pacing and saying she hurts when she needs to go to the bathroom, but she is not able to verbalize that she needs to go. Instead of getting pain medication, the team tries the bathroom first. Empowered direct caregivers have latitude and authority to support an elder's decision on the spot. They are not required to run basic decisions up the flagpole or chain of command because the organization has a flattened hierarchy. Empowered staff understand they are expected to support elders' decisions and know they will be supported by leaders in the organization. They understand what is expected of them because they have the tools and training they need. Empowered staff have access to information necessary to support elders' decisions. Direct care staff are valued and involved. Professional opportunities exist to grow staff. Direct care staff can participate in decisions affecting their work. Consistent staffing, an integral person-centered care practice, is also addressed within the staff empowerment domain because it is essential to know a lot about a few people rather than a little about a lot of people to truly provide person-centered care.
Leadership works here in many different ways because we have a lot of administration that helps out on the floor, kind of just to give us advice. And I feel like a good leader is like one that communicates well with others. And I feel like a lot of people have that skill here of just like leadership and leading others and helping everybody out and just, yeah.
Leadership, I mean, we have like our LC or LEs that they have like you have your nurses and you have your LEs and you have the people who are obviously in like leadership roles, but then a lot of the time I feel like we have 3 aides that work on the shift, you know, like normally 3 to 4 aides I'd say, and then we all kind of get together, we get like a game plan going, and then we're like, oh, this is what we're gonna do, XYZ, and then you kind of go from there. So it's like everybody kind of has like a say-so in like what's gonna go on, and it's not just one person be like, oh, we're gonna do this because I said so. It's like, oh, you have a voice to say, oh, if we did it like this, or oh, we're gonna, like, if you do this, then I'll do this. It's kind of like a teamwork thing.
Leadership here is absolutely amazing. The staff is amazing. I feel like it's body language, communication skills, and their tone of voice. It makes the day go a lot smoother, and it just we all work together. And it's
decisions really get made by like all of us really coming together, like whether it's CNAs, nurses, administrative, we all kind of like put our heads together to make decisions and to find the best solution for any problem that we could probably have.
So we have like a neighborhood council where we all meet actually every Wednesday, and if the facility is going to make a big decision, everyone in leadership is involved and we discuss it, you know, especially with this last year, all the policy changes, everything was changing every day on what we would do. And when they were loosening restrictions and stuff around us, you know, and we were getting our guidance, we discussed amongst each other like, well, they're saying we can do this, but are we comfortable doing this yet? Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of all, I don't know what you want to call it, just a collective, I guess.
When it comes to bigger decisions, we usually bring in the crew of staff and just kind of say, here's our issue, here's what we're looking at, and what are your guys' opinions on it? Obviously, for meeting regulations, we have to include, you know, the director of nursing, the administrator, and helping make those decisions, but even everybody helps make that decision. It's not just one person in charge of it.
We all kind of get our input on decisions. Whenever a resident needs something or changed, we all get our input on what's best for the resident.
Decisions are made based on what the situation is, and we kind of just put our heads together and we think outside the box a little bit of how to handle each situation because nobody is the same. And it's just like, it's amazing what we can come up with whenever it's just like right there, then and there. Like you don't think about it until it's like right there.
Within the staff empowerment domain are 4 cores. These include relationships, decision-making resident care, decision-making staff work, and career development. Criteria in these core areas restructure leadership and decision-making within the organization and strive to create a workplace culture where it is everyone's job to serve and support elders while valuing each other regardless of job title. Staff are one of our organization's most valuable assets, so we must invest in them and not just financially. The staff empowerment domain helps our organizations live that out.
When it comes to the elders, they're very vocal about the things that they appreciate, because we do a lot of extra for them, you know, and it's not because we have to. It's because we enjoy seeing their reactions and stuff like that. As far as the administration goes, you know, they say thank you, and they make sure that you know that you're an valued employee.
I feel valued here because they have people that have worked here for years, like 6, 9, 12, 20 years. And I mean, I feel like you don't work at a place like that for that long if you're not valued.
I think all of us are valued here. As a team, we work together, and so you feel that unity, and so right there makes you feel valued. When everybody comes together and support one another, that in itself says so much.
Whatever, but almost every day that I'm here, I'm always told like how thankful they are that I'm here, whether it's by coworkers or residents. They all like recognize me and they're like, oh, we're so thankful that you're here. They also do like Employee of the Month here, which like also makes you feel really valued.
Our boss is very good at sending us notes or nice little greetings, or hey, here's a little present. I was gone last week for a day, and I came back to my favorite snack and drink on my desk that say, thank you, we missed you, please come back, for just having one day off.
I feel very valued here. The management is absolutely amazing. They go along with our schedule. They are very flexible with our hours and what we want to work, and even in the mornings to show their appreciation, they buy us breakfast occasionally.
The residents tell me every day that they're glad to see me. Like, I've been off for 2 days, and so when I come back tonight, they're all gonna be like, they miss me, and I feel loved, because they're like, you're the best nurse, and that just makes it pulls at my heartstrings a little bit.
Another hallmark of person-centered care is the term home. Our homes are often spaces that evoke feelings of privacy, safety, and comfort. We can let down at home and really be ourselves. As stated in the video introduction, our traditional nursing home environments with hard surfaces, standard colors, loud noises, and institutional features have caused elders to express feelings like that of homelessness. The home environment domain speaks to the built environment being recognized as the elder's home, and resident comfort is honored over staff convenience. Said another way, we must shift our thinking from elders live where we work to we work where elders live. It is the elder's home 24/7. While this does mean the environment should be homey and comfortable, it is more than that. It goes beyond the building and the furnishings and looks at practices of the team around true boundaries and privacy. Supporting true privacy and control, supporting choices for solitude, personalization of the living space, and accommodating and promoting self-care and independence. The home environment domain has 2 cores, resident bedrooms and resident use space. All of us interact with spaces around us daily. Traditional nursing home environments cue and reinforce the behaviors of an institution and medical model, whereas the changes outlined in the home environment criteria reinforce human connection and person-centered care delivery. Large capital projects or renovations are not necessary to accomplish a change in the environment. Homes have accomplished changes without major capital expenditures and have incorporated changes into regular maintenance that is necessary as you do business. Let's look at some examples. These pictures show personalized resident bedroom spaces. In person-centered care homes, elders are encouraged to bring items and furniture from home and are supported in hanging and organizing their belongings the way they want them. Some homes even offer elders the opportunity to paint their bedroom space the color of their choice, though this is not a requirement of the PEAK program. The goal is for the elders to be empowered to put their imprint on the space while they live there. One of the few required physical changes to the space for the PEAK program is to eliminate nurses' stations. The idea behind this is to work where elders live and remove barriers between staff and elders. Homes have been very creative in making this happen and have even involved elders in taking sledgehammers to old nurses' stations in the process. There isn't a one-size-fits-all strategy to accomplishing this, but as you can see, homes have been resourceful in making it happen. Changes such as these help cue our behavior to support person-centered care practices. Behavior is just as important as the physical environment. Even when nurses' stations are eliminated, we must be diligent in not using other spaces like the old nurses' stations. Watch for the red flags of staff gathering around the new workspaces and segregating themselves from elders and using alternative workspaces as parking lots for elders. These are practices to work away from and instead work to spend as much time amongst elders as possible. Beyond eliminating the nurses' stations, work to get rid of institutional elements or things that look like they belong in a hospital rather than a home. Begin to replace those items with more home-like alternatives. Get creative. Meaning in life looks different for everyone. The Meaningful Life domain speaks to elders having the opportunities and assistance to pursue a purposeful life. Let's hear from elders on this subject.
I want to make people happy. No matter who it is, I want to make people happy. Sure do. Some people, you know, they're kind of hard to get acquainted with, but then others are real easy. Yeah.
What I'd like to do is get out and do things outside.
Well, I'm known as the plant guy, and until winter comes, that's basically what is my main activity, is the garden and the plants that are in it. And if you want a secondary thing that matters to me, it would be the people here, the people that visit, and also mostly the people that are working here, but an awful lot of my activity is based on the people who come here. And I'm not from the area, so everybody's new to me, and it's really interesting to find out all the connections between people.
My purpose with living is to, make people happy and do good work, be a kind and generous person. I like to help people when they're down on their luck, so to speak, and just having my son and my little dog was a lot. He comes every day to visit me.
What matters to me, being able to have things at home, like at home, and to do things on my own when I could.
Well, family has always mattered to me. As far as here, I'd have to say the staff.
Oh, I don't know. I try to keep busy doing things. It don't amount to much, putting puzzles together and different things like that.
I guess I got too much life in me, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know, this seems like it's always something to do, and if there isn't, I've got my iPad, and I got the nice windows like this, I can look out, which I don't very much. And there's always somebody there that'll visit a little bit. That's the main thing, if they just want to visit a little bit, even if it's just for a few minutes.
As the elders expressed, this does not speak to traditional activity calendars. It does not refer to spending time or filling time, but making life meaningful. It changes the focus from activity programs to community life. How do I want to spend my day? What is my personal routine? What brings me pleasure? We are not always entertained. We need to do things that matter to us. Elders need opportunities to contribute in a meaningful way, participate in community decisions, help other people, and maintain existing ties to family and friends in the outside community. The Meaningful Life domain has two cores, supporting the human spirit and community involvement. A good story will help us unpack what this domain can help us accomplish in our organizations. It is the story of Caleb's basket. Caleb's home was the forest. The people said that Caleb was the wisest of all elders, and they sought his counsel. While many sought Caleb, few found him, for he spent his days wandering through hills and valleys of the forest. Only those who persevered in their search gained the pleasure of his company. Samuel heard all the people's stories about Caleb and resolved to leave the village and find this wonderful, wise man. Samuel wished to become Caleb's student. After several lonely and frustrating weeks of searching, Samuel came upon Caleb as the elders sat on the bank of a small stream. Caleb agreed to have Samuel join him. Before Samuel could gather his pack, the elder disappeared into the forest. If he took time to repack his provisions, he would lose Caleb's trail. He looked at his belongings, shrugged his shoulders, and started down the path in pursuit of Caleb. Many seasons passed. The two men visited every corner of the forest, often losing themselves in silent contemplation. Days and sometimes weeks would go by without a single word passing from Caleb's lips. Only on the rarest occasions would Caleb instruct his student. Samuel loved these long, thoughtful conversations. As the seasons passed, Samuel became convinced that he deserved much more. He eventually confronted Caleb. "I left my home and my family to be your student. I have traveled with you and been your faithful companion for many seasons because I seek your wisdom and knowledge. You offer me your wisdom only on the rarest occasions." Caleb put his arm around Samuel's shoulder and walked with him to the edge of the lake. Standing side by side, they looked out over the water. At last, Caleb spoke. "When the morning light comes again, I will make everything clear to you. Tomorrow will be our last day together." Not surprisingly, Caleb was the first one up. He busied himself preparing for Samuel's last lesson. By the time his young student awoke, all was ready. Caleb called him down to the edge of the lake. "Samuel, look at my basket closely. Can you tell me if it is full?" The question puzzled Samuel, but he did as he was told. He picked up the basket and looked into its depth. It seemed ordinary enough. It was empty. "Master, you know as well as I that this basket is empty," Samuel replied, returning the basket to Caleb. Caleb then took a half-dozen coconut-sized stones and placed them in the basket. When he was done, he asked again, "Is my basket full?" The question again puzzled Samuel. "Yes, of course it is full now. I watched you fill it with those stones." "No, Samuel, my basket is not full." Caleb reached down and picked up a handful of pebbles and poured several measures of the pebbles into the basket. At last they filled the spaces between the stones. "I ask you again," Caleb said, "is my basket full?" "Now, master, it's obvious that the basket is full." "No, Samuel, my basket is not full." This time the old man took a handful of sand and poured it into the basket. He added a handful after handful until the sand filled all the spaces between the pebbles. Samuel looked in disbelief. "I ask you again," said Caleb, "is my basket full?" A smile broke over Samuel's face, and he roared his answer, "Yes, now the basket is full." The teacher shook his head. "No, my basket is not full." Caleb produced the skin in which he carried his drinking water. He poured its contents into the basket, and the water filled the spaces between the grains of sand. Then Caleb said, "Now my basket is full." Caleb continued, "Samuel, you have been my companion and friend for many seasons. You have been both faithful and kind, and those are uncommon virtues in one so young in years. I am proud of you, and I will miss you." Samuel started to interrupt, but Caleb would not allow it. "Our time together is like my basket. I know that you found great pleasure in our fireside conversations and that you regret there have not been more of them. But those long talks are like the large stones in my basket. They have filled some of our time together. Our long walks, our silent days and weeks, our wordless communion with the world and each other have filled the spaces around the talks. They have been our pebbles, our sand, and our water. Now the basket is full. Samuel pleaded, "Forgive me for my foolish heart. I have been impatient and unwise. I do not want to leave you, and it hurts me to think that I may have offended you. I am sorry." "My friend, you have nothing to be sorry for. This day has been drawing nearer to us since the day we first met. Today you will return to the village. There you will fill the basket of your life with love and marriage, the burdens and joys of parenthood, the ache and grief and loss. Life deals these great passages to the fool and the sage alike. True wisdom, Samuel, belongs to those who can fill the empty spaces between life's great events with meaning." Samuel buried his face in his hands and sobbed. When he was finally able to dry his eyes, Caleb was gone, and he knew he would be. Traditional nursing homes are great at filling the basket with stones, but leave empty spaces that provide true, deep meaning, represented by the pebbles, sand, and water. A truly person-centered organization supports and facilitates elders in filling their basket up to completion: stones, pebbles, sand, and water. It takes everyone to do this well. The Meaningful Life domain is all about implementing and supporting elders in pursuing meaning and purpose in their lives. Now, this is living. Every elder should have the ability to continue to live life when they move into long-term care, rather than giving up pieces of themselves and their autonomy when they move into skilled care. How can skilled care settings transform in ways that support elders in living life fully? Person-centered care delivery is the answer.